of your being. No direction in season, never in a rush, but everything is completed. Only the planet know the secrets.
What's going on, everybody? This is the Eric Barber here, and today I'm joined with Noveliss from the Clear Soul Forces, rapper, podcaster, cosplayer, and more. We just saw you do your album release party for Cyberpunk Rap City.
Yes.
How'd that go, man?
It was great, man. This was my first show in a minute, so
yeah.
It was cool to get back on stage, and definitely to perform with Hir-O, man, who, you know, we're not officially a group, but pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah.
It feels like it, you know, we musically and not musically, you know, so it was dope to have this happen after the project came out.
Okay, word, man. No, that's awesome. And I know you've been a long-standing collaborator with Hir-O, right?
Yeah.
How did your relationship first develop?
Oh, that's a really good question. So, you know, we both came up in the Detroit hip-hop scene around the same time when my group, Clear Soul Forces, was doing a lot of stuff. He was a very well-known producer in Detroit. He was with a different group of people, Black Pack, Smellow Orange. He did some stuff with us, a rapper, Chris Oric, who's really dope. He did some stuff with Dolce the Artist, is another rapper he used to do some stuff with. That was really dope. But you know, we shared a lot of mutual, you know, just things with each other. We both played college hoops, and so we always kind of had that type of respect for each other. And I was always a huge fan of his sound too, but you know, just before I started doing my own stuff, you know, we had Elzhi there doing a lot of the production and for the group. And then, you know, when I did Cerebral Apex, which was the solo album I did, I had really reached out to him to get him to be, you know, a part of it. And he wasn't really creating art at the time, and that was kind of me bringing him back into hip hop. And then it's just this album was really a full circle thing because this was him bringing me back to hip hop, you know. So that's kind of how we met, though. It was just on the Detroit scene, and so
no, that's sick. And you know, during your set, you mentioned just that you know, you're close to quitting, and Hir-O kind of brought you back, right?
Yeah.
And you know, what really was the moment or reason behind the, you know, close to quitting?
Yeah, man, creating it's hard, you know, and it's you know, we always talk about even, you know, when you release an album, I always go through this weird period of, because when you're making an album, it's almost like a time capsule of the person that you were during that period of you making it, right? And then when you release it, now it's like the person that you were for that whole time during that creative process and everything you put into it, it's just gone now. And now you just feel empty, right? It's weird. I go through it every time with this project. When I did Vagabond, that EP, I went through that really bad after that, and I just almost didn't want to make music anymore. And Hir-O really came to me with his sound, and he kind of really pushed me to, you know, do this album and just kind of see where it goes from there. And it was really huge for me, not only as a artist, but just as a person too, you know.
And I'm glad it came out. I mean, that whole project is bangers top to bottom, man.
Thank you, man.
And so let's even talk about, you know, why is the name Cyberpunk Rap City?
So the name really, Hir-O, just his sound just reminds me of just a cyberpunk, right? And around the time we were creating this, he loves the Cyberpunk game. He's obsessed with that game. And the show was dope too, the anime that they made. But you know, his sound really also influenced me I love sci-fi films. I love cyberpunk just as a vibe in general, right? So during the time that we were making this, I was watching a lot of you know, things that inspired it. You can hear, it comes out on the project as well, but you know, Ghost in the Shell and Terminator and Terminator 2, Aliens. Like, I love Aliens, and just that stuff is what really inspired this. That's kind of where the cyberpunk part came from. And then just the Rhapsody, the whole spaceship lifting the samurai off the battlefield. So that's kind of how this project got named that.
Love it. And you've had so many great franchises pulled in, right? I mean, you just mentioned Terminator. You got Everything Everywhere All at Once, Tenet, etc. I'm curious about for a project with only a certain amount of slots. How does your selection process go, or to use or call back certain franchises?
That's a great question. I don't intentionally pick things; it just kind of happens. I really love Tenet, and I was kind of revisiting that movie around the time that I made that Protagonist song, and I love Dune as well. I've seen the films, I read the books. I love Dune, so just me kind of being into those two things at once, and then it started off as kind of a Tenet themed song with the as far as the temporal pincer maneuver and all that stuff, and then it just kind of became the Dune stuff. Just kind of, I don't know, it just kind of came into it as well. But yeah, I don't. It's usually sometimes his sounds, whatever the beat sounds like, will influence whatever I talk about. But it's usually just a mixture of his sound and then whatever I'm into at the time. That's how it happens.
That's sick. And I mean, you had some great features on the project as well, right? I mean, including Afro, Mega Ran, one of your all-time favorites, Elzhi, to name a few. Yeah, Blue. Crazy, man. What was the feature selection process like for you?
So I've been trying to get a Elzhi feature forever. And he's one of my favorite rappers of all time, and it just kind of finally happened because I think year and a half ago maybe, I did a hip-hop festival in Worcester, and he was there too, and that was when we kind of finally connected, and we were able to make it happen. And then to get him to rap about Marvel vs. Capcom was really dope. And then Blue, kind of the same thing. Blue's one of my favorite rappers of all time too. Below the Heavens, one of my favorite albums ever. I actually ran into Blue at a festival too. We did this festival in Ohio a couple years ago. That's how we linked up. And then when I was in Europe, I believe it was Royal Arena in Czech Republic. I ran into him out there too at that festival, and then we kind of really connected and kicked it in, and then it kind of happens. I think sometimes when you run into other artists on the job, the connection is a little stronger. You know what I mean?
Makes sense.
And then Afro, I just love Afro. He's one of
Me too.
So I just kind of reached out to him, and it just kind of happened. You know what I mean?
I know Afro's great because I feel like he's down to work.
Yeah,
he's just down to work, and
man.
You give him a beat, he'll body it.
He's really dope too, man. And then Mega Ran is one of my really close friends that I have in this industry. So I feel like anytime I do anything, I always hit Mega Ran up to do something on it. So
that's awesome. And to touch on one of your earlier points, in regards to like having different themes or franchises for a song, do you ever kind of feel like, I notice sometimes you keep it very focused, like maybe 1 to 3 franchises, a lot of times just one. Do you ever kind of feel like some artists, or worry yourself that if you add in too many, it's just going to be like random nerdcore verses just all over the place? Is that something that you think about?
No, because I think it's mad organic, and I don't really try to force those things into my music. It just kind of happens. Yeah. So it's not something I'm conscious of. I don't really like pay attention to it like that,
Gotcha. And in regards to, because you have some very specific call-outs in a lot of your music, in terms of preparing or trying to make sure you got the right stuff, what's that process going? Like, you know what I'm saying? Are you like checking out the wiki, or are you just rewatching, playing the games?
So yeah, I definitely do homework. When I made the Protagonist song, I watched Tenet like a lot. I watched Tenet like 4 times.
That's sick.
Same with the Dune stuff, or when I do, I always, the Tales of a Samurai verses are probably what requires the most research and stuff. Because I love Berserk. Berserk is, one of my favorite just pieces of media of all time. And I know it really well, but even still, to write the verse and make it sound good, and it's hard, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so I have to revisit it, and you know, the manga and the anime, and just make sure I'm connecting the right dots and everything. So
love it. Yeah, man. I mean, nothing about your process seems easy to me. So I'll just say that right now.
I know some rappers say it's not. It's hard to write these songs.
Yeah, man, no doubt. And earlier, you know, you mentioned Elzhi being one of your top 5 artists. You know, could we maybe hear the remaining 5?
Oh yeah, I've had the same top 5 favorite rappers for a long time. Number 1 is MF Doom. Number 2 is Black Thought.
Okay.
Number 3 is Lupe Fiasco. 4,
totally see it.
Elzhi. 5 is Blue. Those are my top 5 favorite rappers.
Okay, love it, man. It's totally solid. And I have also seen that you're quite like the mixed martial artist, right? You do martial arts and you do the sword stuff as well. Could you touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, so I do a lot of sword training. I'm self-taught with Chinese sword. I was in so when I was in Japan once, I did a sword class, and in the sword class, it's cool. You know, you do the class, they train you for like a couple hours, and at the end of the little course, you get a chance to. It's like this pillar that's made of tatami mats, and you get a chance to try to cut through it. And at the end of the class, it was a class that had like maybe like 10 people in it. And me and this girl were the only 2 that cut through the tatami mat. And then after the class, I kind of just stayed around and talked to the instructor, and I ended up training with him for a few days when I was out there. And then I do jujitsu as well. I've been doing jujitsu for a few years. And you know, when I was a kid, I grew up doing karate, did some Chinese martial arts as well. So yeah.
Okay. I think it was on your belt, the water character, Sui. If you're doing Chinese, right?
It's just a Japanese.
Sure. I know you have some water theme iconography generally. Could you go into that a little bit?
Yeah, man, of course. So my jiu-jitsu sensei, Wayne, he feels like my dad sometimes, but when he promoted me, he put a water symbol on my belt. That's kind of my nickname in jiu-jitsu is, you know, and they always say, you know, I'm like water and everything. So he put that on my belt for me. So that's amazing. Yeah.
And I noticed that it's kind of been encapsulating, at least for your public profile. Do you feel like, you know, your martial arts background kind of ties in? I feel like aesthetically it fits perfectly, but any deeper, does your martial arts background tie into your art?
Definitely. And I think, you know, Hir-O's martial artist too, and I think it's just a base for life in general. So it kind of comes out in whatever you're doing, you know, in the way that, you know, I coach kids in basketball, my son's basketball team, I train kids in basketball, and I think that it just comes out in whatever you do, because it's a base, it's a platform for how you live your life, you know, so it comes out in the art, the coaching, and just everything really.
That's awesome. And I know you were a collegiate basketball player as well. Is that something you're keeping up with?
I love so yeah, I don't really play anymore, but I do train kids and I coach kids. My son, I coach my son's AAU team. They're really good. They're 14 and they are one of the best teams in the state, and so I still am attached to the game. I don't play anymore, but I'm still attached to it for sure. Okay,
that's awesome. And you know, I know that you kind of had some huge motion with Clear Soul Forces. We saw Elijah Day in the building tonight. Could you go into like how the group formed?
Oh man, so when we formed years it feels like a separate lifetime ago, honestly. It really does.
Right.
But you know, when we first got together, they all 3 knew each other already, and I actually met them at an open mic, and then we just kind of I just started hanging out with them and kicking it after that, and then we just kind of became a group.
Okay, that's tight. And something that really made me excited to interview you was actually one of your openers, Krim. She told me that you were actually her favorite artist of all time. Totally independent of this event. Is that something that you're kind of conscious of as you're like rapping, that you kind of have these accolades behind you as you're doing your thing?
No, but that's awesome. I love Krim, man. She's really dope. I've known her for a long time. She's one of my favorite artists, easily, from Detroit.
Yeah.
She's, when my group did a show, whenever I do something here, she's always one of the first people that comes to mind that I want to get to be a part of whatever I'm doing. We don't have any music together, but she's also very high on my feature list. So it's really dope to know that I have that type of impact on her, because she's awesome. I like her a lot.
Yeah, no doubt. And I know this, that nerdcore artists especially, they have for the most part a really good relationship with a lot of conventions, stuff like that. I know that you've done cosplay, all that stuff. To you, how impactful are the conventions that you go to, and are there any that have been especially good towards you?
I mean, me and Hir-O have done UmaCon before. I'm kind of that's a good question. I usually like to just go to them to
Yeah.
Hir-O's kind of the one that forces me to he's kind of the one that is always wanting to perform at them, I guess. But yeah, they're good, man. It's definitely a good opportunity to get in front of a lot of people that are kind of like-minded, and into some of the same things that you are. So
okay,
it's cool.
Nice. And to you, what have been some of the more standout artists in the nerdcore community?
Oh man.
Answer is Noveliss.
I'm not the biggest fan of that term.
Oh, okay.
I can't even really tell you why. I just sub genres of hip hop sometimes are just weird to me. But I get it. I understand that people have to label things, but I mean, there's a lot of dope artists, but I don't know what exactly makes someone that, I guess is what I'm saying. Obviously Mega Ran, he's one of the best of all time at what he does. I mean, are we considering Crimson that? I don't know, but if we are, she's really dope. Mark Cooper, he's from Detroit. He's dope.
That's sick.
So yeah, man.
Okay, nice. And what anime are you watching right now?
Ooh, so when Akira Toriyama passed away, I started watching Dragon Ball from the very beginning.
Yeah.
So I'm still watching Dragon Ball. I'm on Z obviously now, but I've been watching that a lot recently. Newer anime. I checked out Hell's Paradise. I'm kind of me and Hir-O, we talk about this too. I'm very burnt out on shonen anime.
Oh, okay.
So and I think part of it is because Berserk and Vagabond just ruined my my taste in things.
Right.
Right. What are the adults doing? Not the super children. But so I'm into. I started watching Vinland Saga. I started watching Vinland Saga. I'm familiar with the manga, but I haven't read it. But I started watching the anime, so I'm watching Vinland Saga right now. So I'd say that.
That's tight. And let's get your thoughts on some stuff going on in the media world, right? How do you feel about Dragon Ball Daima coming out? Yeah.
It's cool, but I don't know how I feel about constantly revisiting things that were good too. It's not like it was bad. You know what I mean? I don't know how I feel about revisiting old things that were good when they were when they were what they were, you know what I mean? So I don't know.
Okay. I think that's a lot of the consensus right now.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about the direction Marvel's Cinematic Universe is going?
I don't know. I don't know if superhero fatigue is real or not. I love comics and Marvel, everything. I think I'm excited for Deadpool and Wolverine.
Oh, that's gonna go crazy.
And I mean, Hir-O will tell you this too. It's about how they execute the X-Men, and it's that's what this is eventually that's what's gonna be the most important thing. So I'm just waiting for that to see how hopefully they don't fumble it. So
that's awesome. And yeah, I mean DC, I think like 2 days ago they just reset their whole animated universe. They got James Gunn's DC. I think it's all to prepare for James Gunn's clean slate world.
Okay.
You got any thoughts on? Are you looking forward to it? Are you gonna miss the old DC universe?
No, I think rebooting things is. I know I just said what I just said about the Dragon Ball, but I think in this field, I think it's smart actually to reboot things and kind of start over, because I mean, it doesn't having everything constantly being connected. I think sometimes I think it really puts some of these filmmakers and writers in a box because everything has to be connected. So I think it's smart to kind of start over and have a clean slate and build a new story and things like that. So
love it. Are there any games you've currently been playing?
So I am a gamer, but I'm so busy that I can't play games like I really want to.
Time commitment.
The last game I got to really sit down with and play was Spider-Man 2.
Oh, okay.
I loved it. It was amazing, but like I want to play Stellar Blade. I haven't got to play that yet.
Yep.
I really want to play Rise of the Ronin. Haven't got to play that yet. And so those are probably the two games I've wanted to play the most that I haven't got to. So. But eventually, I'm going to play. Stellar Blade's at the top of my list. My son loves Elden Ring, and he's been trying to get me to play it, but I don't know if I'm going to play it.
It's brutal, yeah.
This kid plays Elden Ring until like 3 in the morning because it's the summer. So
I mean, that's kind of how it is, yeah.
Oh, Baldur's Gate. Hir-O loves Baldur's Gate. He said it was good. Probably check that out, too. So.
Oh, okay. Hell yeah. What are your... outside of like the Marvel and DC stuff, what are your favorite movies or movies you're looking forward to?
Looking forward to?
Yeah.
Dune Messiah, even though it comes out in like 3 years or something.
Okay.
That's easily
I know that song's gonna go crazy.
That's easily my most anticipated movie, even though the Alien Romulus too.
Oh, wow.
Really looking forward to the new Alien movie. What else? What else is good that's coming out? I'll just say those for now. I've been really waiting for this new Alien movie to come out, and even though Dune Messiah is not going to come out forever, that.
Hell yeah.
Oh, are they doing that? That was confirmed. John Wick spinoff. I know they're making a Ghost of Tsushima movie. Chad Stahelski, the John Wick guy's doing it. That's obviously, if that happens, that would be incredible. Yeah. So yeah, those.
Love it. And, as someone who's kind of been around all over the globetrotter, how do you compare what do you think makes the Detroit hip-hop scene unique?
There's so many... I think there's so many different kinds of legends here. Different... the Detroit music scene, it's really unlike anything I've seen. Then you can... A lot of legends and people who have had a lot of success are really tangible here too. You can go to stuff like this and you can run into some people that you wouldn't think you could run into. I mean, DJ Head was just in there spinning.
That's crazy.
You know what I mean? He bought 2 of my vinyl today.
Man,
and like stuff like this it's not uncommon here. And I just think like I said, there's so many different eras and different and a lot of it kind of just blends and you see all these people from all these different eras and different sounds and different because the scene has I've been out of the scene forever. I don't do anything, but it's always multiple generations happening at once, and I think that's cool.
That's awesome. And what are your goals in the next, couple years?
That's a hard question.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a really good question. I mean, I'm pretty much obviously I would love to do some things with my music that I've always wanted to do. I want to get Hyper Combo in the Marvel vs. Capcom collection, stuff like that. I want to do more like sync licensing things and be able to get my music in other places in media, and just kind of use those as platforms to, get our art out there and
I think it's a great time for that.
Yeah, for sure.
I've only been seeing more and more of it, to be honest.
Yeah,
so especially with more independent artists. So.
Yeah, that's really something that I'm into. So I would say that's a goal of mine.
Okay, sweet. I think we're getting pretty close to wrapping up the interview. So I want our other man of the hour, Hir-O, to come up here. Yeah, Noveliss, I want you to kind of say, what you like about working with Hir-O and kind of what he has meant to you over the years.
Oh, man, best friend. Musically and not musically. As I said, he really pulled me out of, the place I was stuck at and really kind of turned around, creatively, musically, but also just as a person too,
Likewise.
Maximum appreciation.
Appreciate it, man. Likewise, bro. I feel like, he had this interview in another podcast where he talks about how we sort of took turns saving each other. Because, when he first came to me, we've been cool. We've been friends for a long time. We didn't start to become like really locked in, like brothers for real until maybe about 5 years ago or so. But that started when he approached me, because we were fans of each other. We knew each other, but he approached me to be a part of his. I think it was the album that went on to become the one that you did right before.
It was Cerebral Apex.
But you hit me up before that. You hit me up before Cerebral Apex.
Yeah.
And I was working in corporate world. I was working 7 million hours a week. And I remember Noveliss is amazing. That's one of my favorite artists. I would love to work with him, but I can't, bro. I just don't have time. And I dropped the ball. I couldn't get any music to him. And I thought shit, there was my chance. I guess we'll just have to continue to be kind of friends from a distance. But the Cerebral Apex opportunity came around. I was ready. I locked in. And he really gave me an opportunity. He trusted in my sound. And then we realized that, that's we have a lot in common. And we both martial artists, both into anime, both into comics, both into basketball, have a similar worldview. And we noticed that we would spend an hour before our recording sessions just chopping it up. Yeah. And we were we should just do a podcast.
And that's kind of how the podcast happened.
Literally exactly how it happened. And then from there, man, we just grew to become legitimate brothers. And so the music connection is supernatural. And that's my guy.
Yes, sir.
All right, appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Well, guys, that was Noveliss, and we got a quick cameo from Hir-O. Hir-O's going to come on for an interview in the near future as well. Noveliss, I really appreciate you coming on for sure, sharing all the insights, man. No doubt about it. Check out all of their links down in the description below, and we'll see you guys later.
Peace.
Peace.
Thank you.